Amen.
Yeah. Is anybody happy?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful day, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Making sure everybody's happy. I'm happy today. I'm happy to be with y'all. It's an honor to be here. Happy to be around friends, family. Bright shiny day is stuck in my head now.
Amen.
It'll take me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'm coming from up there. Different ball game up there. But all right. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's just jump straight in. I think this is going to be good today. It was good to me this morning when I was reading. We're going to go to Numbers 14. Numbers 14. So this right here is in Moses' era. Joshua, Caleb, the troopers, the adventurers wandering through the wilderness. They was on an adventure. They had a plan where they was going, but they just wandered a little too long. So, of course, we all know the story of Moses. He's leading these people. He's giving them everything that God gave to him. And he's leading these people and trying to bring them into a land that was promised. Okay, a promised land, something that God promised. So is God a liar? No, he is far from a liar. He is the opposite of a liar. He is all truth, nothing but truth. So help him God. So Moses was following out this promise, trying to get to this promise. And this promise was a land. They found that it was a land flowing with milk and honey, with everything that they needed. Everything. Abundance. More than enough. So of course the people murmured, complained the whole way. And they're going on this journey and nothing's working out and they want to go back. So where we're getting the scriptures before what we're about to read, they had went and spied out the land. They had seen it. They had laid their eyes on the land. Now imagine going on a 40-year camping trip and then get there and they have seen the land that was promised by a man who was all truth, by God, by the Almighty God promised to them. It's been seen. And they said, man, it's flowing with milk and honey. It's got, man, these grapes are as big as your head. 5 people can eat off one grape. It's more than enough for all of us. But there was one problem. When they seen it, there was these giants in the land. Huge men of great stature. And they came back and half of them said, we're like grasshoppers. We're like grasshoppers to them. And so they feared. And so what did the people do? That seed, you spoke about it this morning, that seed buried itself within the people. And so they said, we can't, we need to turn around. We need to find a new leader and go back. Okay, so now they're trying to go back into bondage, back into slavery from which they came. And they have seen, they have a tangible, they have these grapes. They have it. It's tangible and they can see it and they can touch it, their promise. By God who's not a liar. Okay, so now let's start reading. Let's just start in start in 14:1. And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God that we had died in the wilderness? They plan on dying either way. There's some people that just plan on dying either way you look at it. Everywhere all around them is just death, and it's just, well, we're all going to die one day, and well, I'm just going to sit right here, and I would rather have died in bondage, is what they're saying, because then now I've done put in all this work. Let me say that again. I put in all this work to get where I'm at, and somebody made me do it. And see, people don't like to work. People don't like to work. A worker, a hard worker is what? Is prosperous. No matter how you look at it. A hard working person is prosperous. Okay, so they put in this work and they want to spend all that work and go back. Because it takes you twice as much work to go back into bondage. Yes. It takes you twice as much to go back into bondage. They were on the verge of something, but these giants got in the way. And so, because these giants were big and they looked at themselves as grasshoppers. Because that's how they viewed themselves. Nobody told them they was grasshoppers. They told themselves they were grasshoppers. Yeah. All right, let's keep reading. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. And wherefore hath the Lord brought us into this land, and fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be prey? Were it not be better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain. Let's make a new leader, and let us return into Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel, and Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb and the son of, your best guess, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes, and they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we have passed through to search it is an exceedingly good land. Exceedingly good. It ain't just good, it's exceedingly good. Alright. Because words make a big difference. It's above good. It's greater than good. It's better than good. It's gooder than good. And in the Lord delighted in us, then He will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, the giants, for they are bread for us. They are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. Okay, so these people were looking at themselves as grasshoppers, and they're looking at them as giants. Now, can a grasshopper eat a giant? Because bread is something that you eat. Bread is something that gives you life. It sustains you. It fills you. So they look at themselves as giants, but yet He said that they are bread for us. They're bread. They're life for us. What does that mean? I never had thought of it before. That they're bread for us. They're food for us. So if they're food for us, then they fulfill us. Okay, so what they saw was adversity. What they saw was a problem. What they saw was something bigger than themselves that they thought they couldn't overtake, that they thought they couldn't overcome. But see, that was the only thing that was standing between them and their promised land, was those giants. So in order to get to the promised land, they had to get through those giants. But yet those giants are bread, because what you do is when you go through and you conquer your giants and you eat your giants, your promised land is on the other side of that. That is life for you. Your adversity is life for you. Your adversity is going to well up something different inside of you. It's the thing that when you overcome it, that you're going to come out better on the other side. So we have to go in and eat these giants. They are bread for us. Our adversity is bread for us. It builds us because bread adds to you. Now as a grasshopper don't eat bread. A grasshopper don't eat bread. A giant might eat a grasshopper. But see, Caleb and Joshua, they viewed themselves different. They viewed themselves as overcomers instead of being the victim all the time. See, we live in a victimhood mentality. Our whole society is based on a victimhood mentality where we can only come this far, and I'm just not good enough, and poor me. That's what they were doing. They were sitting there, and they had come all this way and overcame all this adversity and beaten all the odds and made it to this point, made it to their promised land that was promised to them by God, who is Almighty, who is the I am. And if He says I am what I am, then He is what He is. And I never heard Him say that I am a liar. All I heard Him say is I am life. Amen. I am truth. Because you are what you say you are. Because we're creators as well. We were created in His image, so therefore whatever I say that I am, that's what I am too. And if I am a grasshopper, and I tell myself that I am a grasshopper, then that's exactly what I'm going to be, is a grasshopper. But if I tell myself that I am more than enough, I'm more than a conqueror, all things through Him strengthens me, and I can overcome all things. Because that's what my Father said that I am. I'm more than enough. I'm bigger than those giants. I am. See, a lot of times we see these giants in our life, and we've already spoke about this. Those giants are eating your fruit. Because that's your land. That was promised to you. It won't promise to them. They're in there eating your fruit. They're in there inhabiting your land. And we know that all this is inside of us. And it's outside of us. And it's all around us. So what giants are eating your fruit inside of your head?
Go ahead.
What giants are partaking of the good things in your life and taking away from you instead of being bread to you and adding to you and giving you more life? Because you got to overcome those giants. You've got to eat of those giants. Eat them. Consume them. Let them add to you. Let your adversity add to you. Because it's easy to let your adversity beat you and never even try to attack it in the first place. Never even try. Just sit on the sidelines of your promised land. Sit in the outskirts. Sit in the wilderness, because that's where they were at. They were still camping. In the wilderness. When you live on your land, now you can build you a house. Now you can set up a place to have a family. Now you can have a future. But see, in our minds, we don't even live in our own land. We live lost in a wilderness. Wandering through a wilderness. There's no coincidence that it's 40 years. It's generations upon generations that's lost in a wilderness. And those generations didn't inherit the promised land. Caleb's generation did. Yep. Because it says, come unto me as a child. Humble, pure. You can't be pure unto God if you have these giants and you're scared of these giants. Because you're deceiving yourself, telling yourself that you're a grasshopper, and that's a lie.
Go ahead.
Because God said you're an overcomer.
That's right.
He said, you're more than enough.
Yes.
You're more than a conqueror.
Go ahead.
And you can do all things through me, Christ Jesus, who strengthens you. Let's go to John. And this is your fault right here, Brother Dale. For the other night. John 6. John 6. We're gonna start. We're gonna start in. Let's just start at 15. So right before this is where Jesus fed the 5,000. He fed them what? Fish and bread. Okay. So let's just keep that in mind while we read this. It's good to read it all. For lack of time, we're going to just start right here. All right, 15. Actually, 16. And when even was now come, his disciples went down into the sea and entered into a ship and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come unto them. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So when they had rowed about 25 furlongs, they see Jesus walking on the sea and drawing nigh unto the ship. And they were afraid. But he said, It is I, be not afraid. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land where they went. So they're out here, they're being blowed. I don't know who's ever been in a boat, yes, a little John boat or any kind of boat, a kayak, and had the wind blowing. It will throw you off. It will put you way off track, and you have to fight twice as hard to get back where you're going, depending on which way the wind's blowing. So they're at sea. They're at sea. So the sea arose. Therefore there was waves. There was wind. They were being blown off track, and it was at night. So they're out here struggling is what they're doing. They are struggling. But then they see a man walking across the water. It's Jesus. Of course you're afraid. That would scare me to see a man walking across the water out there on Jordan Lake. Okay, so this man come, and when he got on the boat with them, immediately they were on land. Okay, this is one part. I just got to get this out there we got some more reading to do. So the seas represent the duality. It's confusion.
That's right.
It's up and down. It's blowing. You don't know where you're going. You're moving. It's blowing you around. In essence, you're struggling because the water, the sea arose. They are struggling for life to keep water out of the boat because the boat is their life source. Okay, so in order for them to live, the only thing between them living and dying is that boat. So they're going to do whatever they can to keep the water, which is the threat, out of the boat. Okay. So when the water comes in the boat, they either got to get it out, they got to keep the water out, they got to get where they're going. They're working hard in a struggle, they're in a storm, they're in a fight for their life. And we've all been in a fight for our life at some point in time, and guess what? It will not be the last one. Amen. Because we have to go through that, because that is an adversity. But the thing is, when you're going through this fight, this struggle, this storm in your life, if you got the right people in the boat with you, immediately you'll be on land. Yes. Immediately the confusion is gone. Immediately you're where you're supposed to be, because not only was they on land, but they was on land in their destination. Go ahead. Because they had a vision. But they just needed the right person in the boat with them. They needed the right idea in the boat with them. See, some people who's in your boat is poking holes in your boat. And they're already planning on dying. And just like they was murmuring and complaining, they're already planning on dying. So they're putting holes in your boat because they want to bring you with them. So maybe I would say let's exchange some people off the boat, because they had to throw Jonah out of the boat. Because he had the wrong idea. It's your fault, Jonah. It's you why this boat's sinking. You got to go. Because I want to live. And if it comes between me living and you dying because of your stinking thinking, your ideas, your crazy thinking, guess what? I'm sorry, but I'm going to live. Alright, so let's just stop right there, because we're going to get off track again. We're talking about bread now. Let's get back to the bread. I lost my page and everything. Alright. So now let's skip to, basically, they got where they was going. None of the other boats made it that night, but they came later and they couldn't find Jesus. But when they found Jesus in 26, Jesus answered and said, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, you seek me, not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves." You did eat of that bread that I gave you across the sea over there. That's why you're after me, because I only had 5 pieces, but those 5 pieces multiplied, and you want to know how I did it. That's why you come seeking me. Because there was people after him. Because they saw something in him and they wanted more. See, when people see something in you, they're going to come to you because they want more of what you got, because that bread's good. And he said, eat of me because I'm good. Alright, I'm going to get ahead. Alright, okay. Let's read. Not because you saw the miracles, but because you did eat of the loaves and you were filled. Labor not for the meat which perisheth, but for that meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you, for him hath God the Father sealed. So he's saying, don't seek after the meat that I gave you over there. Yeah, you might still be a little full from that, but it's not going to last you. It perishes. It lasts you only for a short time. See, there's a lot of meat that we eat that only lasts us for a short time. It only lasts us for just a little bit. You know, for me, I would do drugs. And those drugs would only last me just for a little bit, but then I would still be in it. It never sustained me for any long period of time. So I would have to go back and get more, and I was constantly going back to get more of this meat that perishes, that dies. We all do that. I still do that. We all do that. We seek stuff to make us fulfilled, but yet he's telling us of a meat that lasts. So let's keep reading. Then said they unto him, what shall we do? What might work the works of God? And Jesus answered and said unto them, this is the work of God, that ye believe on him who he has sent. You believe on who did he send? Jesus. You believe on me is what he's saying. And they said therefore unto him, what sign showest thou then? What sign? What sign are you going to show us? Alright, now that's some crazy people talking, so let's just keep reading. That we may see and believe thee. What dost thou work? Our fathers did eat manna in the desert, as it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat. Our fathers. Our fathers were given this bread. Who's he talking about? Moses. He's talking about when they was lost in the desert, that they had manna to eat. But guess what? They were still murmuring and complaining because that manna was not the true bread of life. That manna only subsided them for a little bit of time, so they always went back murmuring and complaining with a victimhood mentality about wanting more.
Go ahead.
An entitled mentality about wanting more. I have to have more because they were not fulfilled within themselves. And Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, Moses gave you not the bread from heaven, but my Father giveth you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he which cometh down from heaven, and giveth life unto the world. Then said they unto him, Lord, evermore give us this bread. And Jesus said, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger. He that believeth on me shall never thirst. But I have said unto you that ye also have seen me and believe not. They still didn't believe. They seen him over there perform a miracle. They've heard about the miracles. They've seen this and they still did not believe. So he called them out on it. Jesus is bold now. Jesus ain't playing no games. He dropped the dime on you real quick. He said, you don't believe in me. And all that the Father giveth me shall come to me. All that the Father giveth me shall come to me. And him that cometh to me, why are they coming to him? Because he's got all that the Father gave. Yeah. He's got it. So you come to me. So the ones who go to him, to me I will in no wise cast down. There's no way I'll cast them down. For I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but to do the will of him that sent me. And this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that of all which he hath given me I should lose nothing.
Nothing. Yes, sir.
All that he has given me.
Yes, sir.
That he will lose nothing. So if we come to him, and he's not going to turn us away,
go ahead.
Then what should we lose?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, let's keep reading. But should raise it up at the last day. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up in the last day. Whenever he went to that cross,
go ahead.
Whenever he hung his head and the locks of his shoulder and that veil was rent, we all were offered the opportunity to come to him. When his blood was shed, when water and blood poured out of his side, when the very Spirit of God mixed with the flesh of men was coming out of his side, we were given the opportunity to come unto him. And because we have that opportunity, then if we come to him, we will lose nothing. Because he is the bread of life. And because he is the bread of life, if we eat of him and eat that bread which he is, we shall never die, because we're going to live this everlasting life. We're going to live this abundant life that's all talked about from the beginning to the end of the Bible. But see, the thing is, going back to Numbers, that adversity that the giants were, he became that bread. He became our adversity so that we don't have to defeat it. He became the thing that looked so big in our life when we saw ourselves as grasshoppers, and that looked so huge and we can never defeat it. When we came to him, all of a sudden he became our adversity. So there is no more adversity, because that's why he died on the cross for us. That's why he did what he did, is so that this adversity is no more, so we can live abundant life. And we can live in this promised land, and in that promised land is nothing but life. And life more abundant. It ain't nothing but a love story.
Go ahead.
From the beginning to the end is nothing but a love story.
Yes, sir.
And anybody who says anything different, you need to walk away from them, because God is nothing but love.
That's right.
And He's full of love. And that's why He did what He did. Because if my Father, my natural Father, would do anything for me, He would die for me. And because He would do that, do you think that He is going to let some giant overtake me? No, because He promised me that He would take care of it. And there's no doubt in your mind once you know God. See, people have got a form of godliness. They've got just a piece, just enough to get them in trouble. Just enough to speak about it. It ain't enough to speak about it. This thing is real to me. This thing has consumed me, because God is a consuming fire that overtakes you. We were sitting around the fire last night talking, having a good time with Joe. And me and his son was talking about that fire. We had a fire barrel going. That fire is a consuming fire that wells up and consumes whatever it touches. There's no way, there is no way once you have gotten that fire that it will not consume you. There's no other way. So you look at somebody's life who's talking about God and talking about all this stuff and how they're so godly, and they're talking about the bread from Moses is what they're talking about. It's not the true bread. It's not the true life. It's not the one that fills you up, because if it was the one that filled them up, they wouldn't even have to ask Jesus nothing. They just would have just believed and just been there wherever He was at and followed Him wherever He was going to the end. But they didn't believe because they had that bread that just lasts them for a little bit. That bread fulfills you where you never hunger, you never thirst again. That bread is your adversity. You eat that bread, you eat that adversity in your life, and you overcome it, you overtake it, because it's already been done.
Go ahead.
God ain't going to come in and swoop in and fix all your problems. He already did that. As soon as He hung His head on the locks of His shoulders, that's what He did for you. Already done, so that we have this life before us to live. It's your choice not to be. You can be a grasshopper or you can be an overcomer.
Amen.
Amen.
It's up to you. It's up to me. We have that choice. And see, there is nothing but life in that promised land. Nothing but life. I have finally experienced in this promised land. In Revelation, it talks about the weeping and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. That's the opposite of God.
Yep.
I've been there too.
Yes, sir.
I've been there when you can't wrap your mind around anything because it's spinning so fast and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to turn to. You don't know what you can't even think. I've been there. Face first on the floor. Thinking you're going to die. That is hell. That's what's in the wilderness. There's darkness in the wilderness. But He said, I am the light.
Yes.
He is the light. He's that light that shineth in the city on the hill.
Go ahead.
And see, the thing is, if He's in us and we're in Him, and it's just one big ball of love, then why aren't we that light? Why ain't we that light? Because on a hill, you can see it from far away. You're a beacon. You're a lighthouse for the people who's lost in the wilderness, so that they know where to come.
That's right.
A ship that's lost at sea, they look for the lighthouse. And when they see that, they have hope and they have direction and they have a future. He is that light. He is your hope. He is your future. He is everything that you need.
That's right.
Because His life lasts forever. This ain't no dying and going back home message. Because that's what the people out there in the wilderness were doing.
That's right.
They weren't doing nothing but dying and wanting to go home. What is the church doing today? They're dying and they want to go home.
Yep.
No, I want to live and live right here because I have a purpose and I have a future. I got something to do.
Yes, sir.
We got something to do.
Yes, sir.
This thing is bigger than us.
Yes.
As long as you focus on your giants, you won't never go in. You got to know that that giant's your bread. I'm going to eat that giant.
Go ahead.
When you go in, you knock the door, slam off the hinges, because that's my giant. He's mine. Nah, nobody else touch him. That was mine. I'm going to eat him. Stop wanting somebody else to fix it for you. He already fixed it. He already fixed it in your favor.
Yes.
It's like going to the casino and playing craps and winning every time because he done fixed it for you. The game is fixed in your favor. And all you got to do is stop looking at yourself like a grasshopper.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Stop perceiving yourself as a grasshopper and perceive yourself as bigger than the giant. David, all he needed was 5 smooth stones.
Yes, sir.
And he only used one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know why he got 5. I do know why he got 5, but because 5 is grace, number of grace. But see, he didn't need but one. That one smooth stone. That one right stone. Just one. And he had to have the right tools to use that stone. And the only tools he could use, see, the armor wasn't good enough for him.
No.
A lot of us is trying to put on another man's
Go
armor.
ahead, go ahead.
He had done defeated the bear and the lion. This dude, I got something for him. All he needed was that one stone and the one thing that he had worked for. He had worked with. He had worked with that slingshot his whole life. That's how he defeated him. See, a lot of people's looking for somebody else's sword. They're looking for somebody to, hey man, let me borrow this from you. No, that ain't your tool. Your tool is the thing that gave you a hard time in the past. Your tool is the thing that almost whooped you. That almost had you down, had his foot on your head, and you somehow made it out. That's your tool. That's what you're going to use to defeat your giants with. Is that thing that almost choked you out. Because if you come out of that, that giant ain't nothing. Some of us ain't inherited the promised land because that thing still got its foot on her neck. It's still got its foot on her neck, and we'll wait for somebody else to swoop in and save us. Your Savior's already came. He already did his job.
Yes.
He already came, and he came so that you can have life. And as long as this thing's choking you out with his foot on your neck, that don't sound like life to me. I know because I've had it. I like lost my life in it. But when I was able to get up and overtake that one thing, my promised land was on the other side of it. This life is good, man.
Yes, sir.
It's good. It's real good. And you see people going and experiencing stuff that's like just demolishing. And there's no reason. There's no reason for it. And it saddens you because they have the capability to live this life and to live it more abundantly. But they choose to lay there and wait for somebody else to fix it. When the solution to your problem is all inside of you. It's a garden. The garden is inside of us. The Lot garden. I love that song. But that garden is inside of us. That promised land is already built in. We're coming to build in promised land.
Go ahead.
So now when them things come, you know what? That ain't nothing. When the problems come, when the storm comes, that ain't nothing because I got the right person in the boat with me. Alright, they already had a destination. I know where I'm going. But I got the right person in the boat. So that now I can stand on stable ground, on solid ground. So I'm not tossed to and fro. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. We are the thief. Or we've eaten the bread of life. And we become in the image of Him. You're one of the two. It's life or death. Everything is life or death. Everything. Everything is life or death. Every choice you make is life or death. All day. You're either the thief and you're taken, which is death, or you've gotten the bread of life, which fills you up so that you can give. You're either taken or given. Life reproduces, death takes away. But the thing is, that's so beautiful, it's exciting for me, is that we have the option. It's not exciting to some people to hear this message because they feel like they don't have the option. It's exciting to me because I know it's my choice. And as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And we're going to live.
Yes, sir. Amen.
And because I have that choice, that means that there's no limit. There's no limit in God. There's no ceiling. There ain't no cap on this thing.
Go ahead.
You can go as far as you want to go with Him. And He'll go as far as you're willing to go. And that's beautiful. So yeah, I'm excited today. But I love you guys. We'll do it again like tonight.
Yes, sir. Amen.